is good? It's your boy Sam back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're gonna be talking about my advice on how you guys can complete the gauntlet for Joe Johnson in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, how do you get Joe Johnson? You have to win 15 clutch time online games in a row. That's a lot of clutch time online games in a row. For me, it took me about an hour and 45 minutes to get it done, and I won 15 straight games. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Ty, that's cool. What is the lineup you went out there with? This is the lineup I personally went out there with. Now, I'm going to be talking about why I went out there with this lineup, and if you don't have these cards, what you guys should be looking for in a lineup. Now, before I dive any further into that, if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're on the road towards 130,000 subscribers. So at your guard positions, I think you're gonna want some offense. I see a lot of people going in and running lineups like this. Now, I don't have MJ anymore, but let's say I have a really good defensive shooting guard as well. Let's just plug in the Ruby MJ for the sake. I don't even know if I have Ruby MJ or if there even is Ruby MJ. But let's just, for the sake of this, say this is like Michael Jordan. They're running a backcourt of D-Wade and Michael Jordan. That's their backcourt. Which, I mean, I get it. Then you're basically not going to let your opponent score. But that's not going to lead to good and successful offense. In my opinion, that's where you're going to get more boxed up than ever before. And if you want to run D-Wade, that's fine. But at the shooting guard position, I would run a guy that can get you a bucket. Let's say like Devin Booker. A guy like that can get you a bucket if you do want to run Dwayne Wade. Otherwise, I'd run Kyrie Irving. That's who I ran at my starting point guard position. And I know a lot of you guys watching this video probably have Kyrie Irving. Another guy I don't mind running is a guy like Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is a good all-around point guard in my team. And I think those type of guys can lead to success. At the shooting guard position, I ran Brandon Roy. I want an all-around complete shooting guard to run. And I think Brandon Roy is at the very top of that list. Now, obviously, if you have Michael Jordan, if you have Paul George, those are guys I definitely recommend. I think the best shooting guard to run is Paul George. Now, if you don't have those guys, or you're really balling on a budget, Steve Smith is a fine guy to run because he's long, lengthy at that too. I don't have a problem with him. On my nobody spend, I'm running Kyle Korver at the 3, but I don't have a problem with him either if that's who you do want to decide. And honestly, if you want to run Kyrie at the 1 and D-Wade at the 2, I don't even mind that either because D-Wade plays enough defense to hold it down for you guys. Small forward position, this is where you want your lock. This is not, because this is where I plugged in Kyle Korver in my Nobody Spent Squad series, but I don't love it. This is where I'd plug in a lock. So a guy like Andre Kirilenko, a guy like Scottie Pippen, a guy like that is who I'm personally plugging in this position. Even if you're really balling on a budget, a guy like Juan Toscano can definitely hold it down. On this account, I ran Scottie Pippen just because he's got a super quick release, and with the small floor in clutch time, I think it's important to do. Power forward center position, I think at the center position, guys, you need a center that can compete on the interior because you're going to be up against Giannis. You're going to be up against Wilt. You're going to be up against those type of guys. And so I ran Wilt. Now, if you're running no point guards that can shot create, so let's say at the point guard you're running Wade, at the shooting guard you're running Paul George, well then you might want to run a stretch big. So let's say like Giannis or Chris Bosh or AD, somebody like that at the center position. You want to pair a point guard that can shoot with an inside center, or a point guard that's not really a 300 with a stretch big. So I ran Kyrie with Wilt. I love the duo. Power forward position, I ran Chris Bosh. Now you could run Jaren, you could run AK, you could run a lot of those guys. You just want to make sure you got a stretch big at the 4. So lineup wise, that's what to look like. That's what to look at. Now gameplay wise, what should be your main focus? Well, my main focus gameplay wise was not losing. So I'm not worried about getting through games quickly. Like I think in Triple Threat Online, when I did that, I was worried a lot about getting through games quickly. I'm not worried about that. I'm doing anything to win the game. And so for me, I'm getting in the game, I'm doing settings. So do whatever settings you have to do. I mean, yes, even if it takes you 30 seconds per game, it is absolutely worth your time to do that. Now, obviously, with that being said, you've got to sweat every single possession. There's no trolling, because if you troll, let's say you take a crazy shot when you're up 6 with a minute left, then your opponent knocks down a 4-point jump shot, he's right back in the game. So when you're playing this, there's no trolling. And that's something I've got to learn even on my No Money Spent account. I can't take crazy shots. I've got to lock in from the start to the end. Otherwise, I am going to end up losing games. And that's something even me on this 15 grind, like I game like 12, I was up like 8 and I trolled, and then I ended up only winning the game by like 3. And that's something that you guys cannot do, because that is how you guys are going to lose games. The last thing I'm going to say, and it's going to be valid on the No Money Spent Squad series, is I do not recommend grinding them all 15 at a time. Because if you grind all 15 of the games in a row, you're going to be tired, you're going to be annoyed, you're going to be stressed out. I would grind a few to 5 games at a time. Get 3 to 5 wins at a time. Chill for a little bit, and then come back to the game when you're fresh and ready to go. The reason I say that is because even for me, when I'm at like game 12, 11, I'm stressed out. I don't feel like playing Clutch Time Online anymore. Then I'm going to be unlocked. I'm not going to be as focused as I would be if I loaded up the game right now and I'm just fresh playing it. So those are just like, that's my last and probably the most important thing. Sure, your lineup, it really depends on what you're thinking. This is the lineup I ran. This is the, I ran actually, who did I ran Brandon Roy. This is the lineup I ran, but you guys can run whatever lineup you want. I do think Kyrie Irving, Chris Bosh, and Wilt, all those cards are free, are very important to your road. Even Brandon Roy for me was free. So this squad I ran is yes, B-Roy is a crazy grind. And if you have SGA, I would definitely run him. But I mean, honestly, I think, this squad is 100,000 MT. So don't think you have to have the best Giannis, Paul George, all those types of guys. Yes, they can definitely help out. But run your best squad. And the biggest key I can give you is don't play this stressed out. Don't do it. Don't play this stressed out. So let's say you're 3-0, you play game 4 and you barely win, and you're like, oh my gosh, now I got to go into game 5. Just take a little break, guys. Chip away at it. Yes, 15 games seems crazy, but if you can break it into groups of 3s or 4s, I think that's really important, right? Just win 3 games at a time, 5 different times. I know eventually you might play a sweat and have to restart, but that is the way I would go at this. Even in Triple Threat Online, if you're like, man, I gotta win 15 games in a row, it seems crazy. It seems nearly impossible to do. But if you break it down, okay, let me just win 3 games real quick and then go at the rest later, I do think that is important. Even for me, if I'd have went into every game, fresh, even yesterday in the No Money Spent Squad series, I probably would have won. But on the No Money Spent Squad series, I went in there after already winning these 15 games. I was stressed, I was tired. Part of the reason I probably did indeed lose. So those are just some small tips and tricks that I do have for you guys. I do think lineup wise, a lot of people are just going strictly defense, and that's fine. But I'm just telling you guys, it can get really hard to score in Clutch Time Online with the smaller floor, all those types of things. And so I would try to at least get some offense on the court, whether that's Kyrie Irving, whether that's somebody else. I think you'll just be fine. And even if you do run a Kyrie Steph, I think it's way easier to make up for their lack of defense with the smaller court in Clutch Time Online compared to like a MyTEAM Unlimited type mode. So those are my, tips and tricks for you guys to complete the gauntlet, man. I wish you guys the best of luck. Don't stress about it. That's one of the biggest keys that I personally would recommend for you guys. Don't play this game stressed out. If you don't feel like playing the gauntlet, don't play it. It's sweaty right now. It's gonna get way less sweaty in a week or 2. So if you're not good at the game or not great at the game, I wouldn't even play it right now. I would slowly, if you want to chip away at it, that's fine. But just know it's gonna get less and less sweaty as time goes on. Like yesterday, it was the most sweaty it would be, because once somebody gets Joe Johnson, I will not touch Clutch Time Online again on this account. That's gonna wrap it up for our video, guys. Drop a like on it, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.